Hello, this is Sean from the Underground Railroad, and he's going to be answering a couple questions about Walk a Mile. So, our first question is, what is Walk a Mile?
So, Walk a Mile in Our Shoes was an event that was created around 2001 by some men who wanted to engage more men in the work around preventing domestic and sexual violence.
And why do we do this event?
So, the event is part of a larger effort of communities to show victims that not only do we support them, but to show those who might do harm that we do not believe the same thing about their victims as they do. So it can work almost as a form of preventative measure to show those who would possibly do harm that you're not going to get away with it in this community.
Okay, and why does this event focus on men?
So the focus on men is because when we talk about domestic and sexual violence, we often focus it specifically around it being a woman's issue. Well, these things we think happen more often to women, so we don't involve men in that process. We need men to be involved in helping prevent domestic and sexual violence because most often violence is going to be perpetrated at the hands of a man. That's not to say that all men are going to use violence because we know most of us won't, but when we don't have men involved, we are then able to show other men that we're viewing them the same way as they are. So the ones who would do harm feel like they can get away with it. So by involving men specifically, we are using those who would do harm believe or follow through with or care about the opinions of more, because men care about the opinions of other men. So when we have men involved, we're showing them that we are going to support victims.
All right, and our next question is, how big of an issue is domestic and sexual violence?
So we know that 1 in 4 women will experience some form of sexual violence at some point during her lifetime. We know that 1 in 6 boys and 1 in 33 men will also experience some form of sexual violence at some point. So like I said earlier, how it focuses specifically on this being a woman's issue, it impacts all of us. And we know, most often that violence is perpetrated at the hands of another man. So again, the need for involving men in this work is important because we can use them to show that we do support victims and aren't going to harm them.
All right, and our last question is, how else can students be involved?
One of the big ways that I say, especially after my presentations, if any of you have seen them, is that we need men to be able to willingly call out and educate their friends on some of the things that a lot of us do that might not be deemed as harmful, but still creates that cultural belief that harm is okay. So telling those sexist jokes, talking poorly about women. When we have other boys and men who are willing to educate their friends on how those things are harmful, we start seeing a culture shift on how we're no longer viewing women as lesser than, because in order to commit violence, we have to view that person as less than us. Another way to be involved is look at what other things are going on in your community as well. Because we know that this being a one-off event in and of itself isn't going to create that shift that we want to see. So we have to continually be involved in doing work around domestic and sexual violence prevention if we actually want to see that change happen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.